So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast for post-match podcast. And one of my lights just stopped working. There's been some gremlins in here today. Something is going on, and I don't know what it is. But yes, gremlins in the works for the second half for Aston Villa versus Young Boys. But thankfully, we did all the work in the first half. And Aston Villa run out 2-1 winners against Young Boys of BERN and go on to 12 points in the Europa League. We're now second in the Europa League phase, with obviously loads of games to come now at 8 o'clock. We are behind Midtjylland, who have a better goal difference on 12 points. And yeah, that's kind of really where we are. That's the nuts and bolts, I suppose, of what happened in that game so far this morning today. Like Villa were by far the better team. By far the better team. And when I was chatting to Paddy yesterday, and when I was chatting to Dan Bardell beforehand, I thought that Villa would want to come out and do their business early in this game. I thought that they would want to exert their pressure and then to have some active resting period in the second half. And I think that's what they did. Wasn't pretty in the second half, but and obviously the offside goal and then the goal that they conceded afterwards were sloppy. But Villa just wanted to come out of that with a win tonight. That was very evident, and a win they came out of it with as well. We can, I suppose, like I'm not too pissed off about any about the actual result or about any performances. That's, you know, the merits of that, or whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, can be discussed. For sure. But Aston Villa have a game at the weekend against Wolves. They're coming off a really, really good run. We're on a super run of form currently at the moment. Superb run of form at the moment. And yeah, today wasn't perfect, but it was a professional job. It was a job done pretty well, I would say. And we're now on 12 points with +5 goal difference, and Midtjylland have a +7 goal difference. So yeah, that's that. I'm just looking here. Midtjylland lost to Roma today, so that's pretty good news for Aston Villa. Freiburg who else played? Yeah, Freiburg drew 0-0 with Victoria Pilsen. And who else played at the top of the league? Ferencváros drew with Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce had a man sent off. They did. John Duran was sent off for Fenerbahce in the 91st minute. The man's a nut job. The man's an actual nut job, and he's a complete and utter waste of talent. But anyway, getting back to the game that we played here tonight. Yeah, Daniel Mallon, definitely the high point for Aston Villa today. Daniel Mallon getting those 2 goals, one with a header and one with his right foot, I think it was. 2 very well taken goals. But Villa were. I actually thought for a good period of the first half today that Villa were trying things out. I think they were trying some moves, some pre-prescribed moves that didn't come off in the first half. Then the second half, there was a couple of changes made, I think, just to try and solidify it. But the second half was poor. It was poor execution in very simple things. But what I mean by this in the first half is the amount of times that we saw players running across the front of I suppose the front of the back four, the Young Boys back four. The amount of times you saw Rodgers popping up over on the right hand side, playing different type of ball into, whether it was Gessan that was making that kind of darting run to try and get to the end line, and we weren't going back to get to Bogard as much as we normally would. And I think Villa were trying out things in that first half. Whoa, what's going on? There's gremlins all over the place. I have no idea what's happening here. Anyway, yeah. So while they were trying out things like that, I think it was interesting to see. But yeah, look, Villa got their 2 goals. They got out of dodge after winning this one 2-1 and onwards, I think, to the Wolves game. Paddy's after joining. Maybe that's why my screen went nuts like that a moment ago. Paddy's after joining. How are you keeping, Paddy?
Not too bad. How are you? I missed what you said, so apologies.
I kind of missed what I said because my whole screen was going nuts. First of all, my light stopped working, one of my lights, and then second of all, it kept on flapping up stuff on my screen. So I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, I was just talking there about it being just one of those performances where Villa got in, got out, got their work done early. Yes, we had a scare towards the end, but I thought that Villa were. I thought that in the first half, Villa were actually trying some premeditated and pre-prescribed moves in attacking when we were attacking in formation. I want to go back and watch that first half to see if I'm correct in it, but it just seemed like what we were trying to do is we were trying to get players running across the front of the back four to try and create more space in there. Namely, Morgan Rogers, I thought at times was doing that, but Villa, to be honest with you, like they should have scored more in this game, but a 2-1 win and second place in the league with realistically only Braga that can go ahead. Is it? Well, no, there's quite a few teams there. Braga and Lyon can go ahead of them, all right, but they're the only two teams that can go ahead because they're playing. And now Braga are playing Rangers and Lyon are playing Maccabi Tel Aviv. You know, both of those teams playing away from home, starting at 8:00. They're the only two teams that can leapfrog Aston Villa. But job done, I suppose. That 2-1 win, Paddy.
That's the most important thing, that the job is done. There's a number of different things we could nitpick at, but the violence in the crowd changed the game, in my opinion, and made it. It took the sting out of our performance. I thought the referee was wrong to stop the game. I thought he should have let it go. It didn't look like. Well, I don't understand why these things are not shown on TV. Like, it hasn't happened in years, but they were always shown on TV. Because obviously TV cameras can pick up stuff as well when they need evidence at a later stage. But I thought the referee was wrong to stop the game because it didn't seem as bad. The videos I've seen from at halftime from fans that were in Villa Park didn't seem as bad. Yeah. But obviously there was danger. They were throwing things onto the pitch. They were throwing things at players. But we didn't help ourselves. We're prone to that. We got a scare with the offside goal, and then we conceded after. So we just got to be careful and not lose the run of ourselves, especially in the big games that are coming up. If we defend like that for those two, the one that was offside and the one they actually scored, we'll be punished by the likes of Arsenal. We've obviously got Chelsea, Arsenal twice actually in December, Manchester United. So there's big games coming, but the most important thing, as you say, is get out of there with a 3 points on the board. Probably another win and a draw will probably keep us in the top 8, and keep us out of danger of not being there in not having to play games in February. That is, but overall, very impressed with the first half. Second half a little bit more disjointed, and it's a pity because it looked like it was going to be one of those great nights where we went and scored a bag of goals, and it just got a little bit disjointed, and I didn't think the subs did anything to help the flow of the game either. It just seemed to disjoint it even more. But 3 points on the board, 2 goals for Daniel Mallon, who's absolutely on fire. I don't know what he has to do to get a start in the Premier League, because we've seen him score goals at club level now, at international level, and surely he's done enough for a start against Wolves at the weekend. But we'll wait and see.
I think that's exactly why he was taken off at 60 minutes, was to give him a start, because he's going to be starting at the weekend. Yeah, like their backline was poor. Young Boys' backline was borderline shambolic, and if we had a final ball, that could have been 6, 7, 8, 9 for Villa tonight, genuinely. And the final ball from Sancho was poor. Final ball from Gessan was poor tonight. Because and as I say, fully in the knowledge of the caveat that I genuinely think that they were trying things out. I think that they were trying moves out from the training ground tonight. And I know people would say, "Oh, like, where's this coming from?" I just thought I thought there was a couple of things that were prescribed and how we were attacking, how we were to move in transition, specifically how we were working from the wings. I think we did that, but the final ball was like, even Robbie Savage said it, Robbie Savage did an awful lot, but he said, "God, I'm getting annoyed at the final ball from Villa. It wasn't great," and it wasn't, but Villa, I do think Villa were trying things. I think they were trying late runs from Morgan Rogers late runs, from Tielemans late runs, then from Barkley. There was actually a couple of times that Lamar Bogart got on the ball at the edge of the area as a right back as well, which
Yeah.
was interesting. But yeah, it's look, as I said, 2-1 win, 3 points on the board. Like, just on, I hadn't spoken about the fan trouble, but like yeah, look, it's nasty stuff. You don't need to do that. Like in 2025, like, where does the anger come from Swiss fans in an incident like that? Where does the anger come from that you want to rip up stadium seats and fire them down onto the stewards and police? Like, what possesses anybody to do that in a football match?
And
Like, it's
players.
the least important things, but like,
Yeah.
there's people there that are going to be spending the night in the cell. They're going to miss their flights home. They're probably going to have to report to the courts on probably tomorrow morning. And
Good.
Good. Fuck them.
Yeah, so it should be.
Yeah.
It really annoys me because I was watching, because it's skin in the game in the 3 games that I was talking about before in the team sheet tantrum. I'm watching a half-empty Feyenoord stadium because they brought flares into the match. And yes, let's see what they do to young boys at BERN after what they did tonight. Bringing flares into the match, by the way, I'm not condoning it either. It's wrong, but charge the people that bring them in. Charge the people you catch on camera lighting a flare. Throwing stuff at officials, at players, at other fans, at police is totally wrong. And they should be playing in front of half-empty stadiums before they finish their Europa League campaign. And the fines and stuff should be similar to what everybody else is getting. But that's just the comparison between the two. But yeah, I thought it was comfortable until that goal went in. The one that was offside, and we just looked a little bit nervy after that, and the subs didn't fill me with any confidence, even though there were probably stronger subs in some situations that came on. There's a couple of people to talk about. Gesson is one, Sancho is another. Probably didn't do enough to help themselves after that performance. Gesson got into a brilliant position at one stage and failed to take on the shot from an absolutely unbelievable ball by Youri Tielemans. Sancho drifted in and out of the game. A player like that shouldn't drift in and out of the game. There was enough of the play down that left-hand side for him to be involved. I just didn't get what his role was. It looked like he didn't know it either. It was just a bit strange. But totally enjoyable first half, I have to say. Looking at the different things that's going on, laughing my head off at Sam Matterface, not knowing that the likes of our esteemed set piece coach uses something like TrackMan. A full 3 years since that was breaking news. He decides to break it again tonight.
Well, do you know what? He definitely only read the Athletic article today. That's why he brought it up. 1,000,000%. The Athletic had an article out about TrackMan today, and that's 1,000,000% the only reason. I thought Matterface was unprepared. I like Sam Matterface. I like listening to him. I listen to him sometimes in TalkSport. I just feel sometimes he can be a bit unprepared when he comes to Villa games. And I don't think Robbie Savage helps him either than the other side. Albeit, fair play to Savage. He bites his tongue with regards to his Blues bias whenever he's on co-comments for Villa. But yeah, still,
that's the thing. He doesn't mean it, and that's what makes it a bit strange to be listening to. And why they send them is beyond me. Because does that enthuse you to pay for TNT Sports? It certainly doesn't. So I don't know what they're thinking is.
Well, they won't have it from 2026. It'll be Sky Sports 11 from 2026, and Paramount Plus will have the. Maybe
not such a bad thing. I'm sure you saw that meme today that I sent. Jamie Carragher going, I just don't know what Liverpool can do.
Yeah.
When every other team makes a fuck up, you know exactly what they can do. The team he should know all about, he knows nothing about, and he's a law unto himself when he's talking about others. But that's besides the point. We've got our own problems to work out, and that soft centre can't happen, especially against like they were bang average. They really were bang average, I thought, and we probably should have done better. But 3 points on the board, second in the league, top 8, definitely within touching distance easily without having to worry about that Fenerbahce game. So hopefully we can go away to Basel and get the job done and
and then
get
Salzburg.
then Salzburg at home. Yeah, that would be nice to not have to go to Fenerbahce. Although I believe John Duran came on tonight and got sent off.
Straight red. Yeah, straight red. So he won't be playing against us.
Well, is that a 3-match ban? It probably is.
It's supposed to be violent conduct. I'm just reading here that he was done for violent conduct, whatever that means. Whether he gets a 3-match ban. Yeah, certain people don't get 3-match bans anymore, Paddy. When they get sent off,
get me going.
Certain people don't get 3-match bans. Certain people with an Aldo at the end of their name don't get 3-match bans for violent conduct. But his name he's John Duran, so we'll see what happens. I think, I'm not sure has he been sent off. No, I don't think he's been sent off in this competition already this season. But anyway, look, we know he's got a short fuse, and we know that he's ahead the ball. So look, if we do end up playing him, get in front of his face for the whole lot for the first 45 minutes and let him draw a punch, and you know, as I say, he's completing another nut job. All the talent in the world. If the amount of talent he had in his baby toe, you'd hope that somebody would get around me and shake me into the position whereby I could fulfill it. But you do you, John Duran. You do you. Paddy, you know, you mentioned there about Malin and Watkins. Like, I presume Malin starts at the weekend. I presume he starts as striker at the weekend. You know, and with regards to the subs, I don't think any of the subs that came on played particularly well.
No.
Bar Konza comes on. Konza just plays really well all the time.
He made a great block there at the end. Jesus,
he did.
Super block. Yeah.
And he played well. Like, Barkley was okay, but you know, they were brought on to try and just stem the flow, last 30 minutes, keep it calm, keep it cool, and you know, they certainly weren't on there to drive the knife or to twist the dagger, should I say, at any stage. They were there just to manage that game, and you know, arguably they didn't do it. Well, not arguably, definitely they didn't do it, because the young boys hadn't a sniff of anything until the last 10 minutes, and then they ended up scoring 2 and having one disallowed. So, you know, that's the way it is.
Yep. You're freezing a little bit there. Are you hearing me okay?
Yeah, I'm hearing you perfectly. Yeah.
Okay. Stuff. Yeah. Look, I think it's just one of those that you draw a line under. I'm sure there'll be a lot of analysis afterwards. To what happened in the second half. Like, it wasn't by any means a shit performance. It was just a little bit troubling that we let them trouble us. But not helped by the crowd trouble. I thought that was the changing part of the game. So I hope they're dealt with accordingly, to the same extent that Feyenoord have been, because that seems only fair to me. But I'll be majorly pissed off if they're not, and that'll have nothing got to do with FIFA's head office being in Switzerland, I'm sure.
No, absolutely nothing at all. I had a great, brilliant, mind-opening point that I wanted to make, but it's completely left my tired brain at the moment. Yeah, so I've absolutely no idea. Nice are rooted to the bottom of the table. Last 5 losses. Jesus, I was just looking at that there, and above them, the other side of Glasgow, Rangers are. That's just kicked off.
They've only come off the bottom because they just kicked off, and it's 0-0.
Yeah, it's 0-0. Yeah. Lyon are winning up against Maccabi Tel Aviv. So currently we are still ahead of Lyon on goal difference. Currently we're still in second place. But like, let's say you've got a draw there between Maccabi Tel Aviv and Lyon. You get a draw between Rangers and Braga. That puts us in a super position, you know, with regards to Basel, Fenerbahce and Salzburg left to come. You know, that puts us in outright.
You need to finish 8th.
Essentially, just need joint to top 8th. Of the table.
Yeah. Finish 8th and everyone will be happy. Simple as that.
Exactly. Yeah, be absolutely fine. Yeah, look, I'm not going to overanalyze this. Oh, I remember what my opening point was. Look, Villa have, outside of the Champions League, Villa have been a one-half team in Europe. Like, you go back to the Conference League.
One-half team at the weekend as well, remember?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Villa regularly under Unai Emery have been a one-half team, but they've got the job done, and they've won games because of it. It's a regular thing. Like, you go back, you go back and think of any of the conference games. One-half team against Ajax, one-half team against we were no half team against Olympiacos in any of those 2 games. But you know, it's not uncommon It's not uncommon for Aston Villa to go do their business in a half, and then is that something they need to change? Absolutely, something you want to see change from a fan point of view. And as we go further in the league, in the competition, you want to see it start to get better and better, because you can't just flick the switch like we saw that against Olympiacos. We can't just flick the switch if we've had a bad first half. Now, saying that, we didn't have a terribly great first half against PSG last year, and then we flicked the switch when we had the likes of John McGinn driving us forward in that game as well. So the outliers are when it happens, but Villa will certainly want to address that, I suppose, going forward. And it very well happened this weekend as well against Wolves. Villa went, let's say somehow Villa got 2-0 up, and then then the second half is a dour affair, or maybe the first half is a dour affair, and Villa end up winning 2-0. Realistically speaking, Unai Emery will say, yeah, what you want? Can't win 4 points. Can't win 4 points in any of these games. So and I think that's a fairly solid strategy to have, as long as you can keep it under control. It's a fairly solid strategy.
We've got to be positive as we like. What do we say? We've won 29, or we're unbeaten in 29 out of 30 games at Villa Park. Yeah. Huge game at the weekend now. Huge game in the context of our season. We need 3 points by any means necessary. If the same thing happens tonight, I'll be more than happy on Sunday to win 2-1 and get out of jail, because they're the results that stand to you when it comes to the end of the season, and you've got into the places where you want to be.
Exactly, 100%. Like as the saying goes, you can't win a tournament in November, but you can lose it. And just getting 3 points is all you want. Try and time your run.
And I think we all thought we'd lost it in August and September. So, we've got to grab it with both hands where we are at the moment and push on. I heard Sam Matterface allude to the fact of, bringing in Asensio and Rashford last year. He's got to work some kind of magic to push us on in January, probably. He alluded to the fact as well that Ollie is carrying an injury. We'll have to wait and see how bad that is and how he's paying through the pain barrier, if that's what it is. So hopefully that's not too bad and it can be sorted out. But does he go and trust Malin now to run the line until Ollie gets that injury sorted? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and that's something Dan Bardell alluded to today on his podcast about Watkins carrying an injury, and has been carrying it for some time. He mentioned, I think, in that podcast as well. And any time will tell and see. But
I'm glad he mentioned it.
yeah. But anyway, right. I think that's going to do it for the podcast tonight, guys. Look, 3 points. We can be overly critical, and sometimes we often are. And it's probably right as well to strive for perfection. But as I say, the perfection really is in the result, and that's the 3 points that we got tonight. And the fact that we're sitting joint top of the table and only second on goal difference currently as we speak. So that's a good night's work in anyone's book. And you know what the great thing about it is? It's 8 o'clock. So there's still time to do stuff tonight before I have to hit the hay. That's so the 5:45 kickoff wasn't all that bad. It really, really wasn't. Anyway, thanks so much.
It's 100% bad. I think they should ban the 5:45 kickoff.
Absolutely. Right. So thanks a million, lads. Thanks a million for all your time and for watching us again. We'll be back again tomorrow night with a Wolves preview, and then we'll see you again then on Sunday for Team Sheet Tantrums and for post-match podcast and everything like that for Aston Villa versus Wolves. In the meantime, everyone, stay safe. It's wild out there. Stay healthy as always. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.